What's going on, Soul Nation, and welcome to another Throne and Liberty video. My name is Brian, if you happen to be new to the channel, but in my last video, we talked about the open beta details for New World that runs all the way up to September 16th, and I said, what is going on? Like, that is right up against the release of Throne and Liberty, and just a few moments later, the team announced that Throne and Liberty's global launch is actually getting delayed to October 1st, with early access kicking off on September 26th. And so in this video, I want to go over why that is. They're saying all of these new features and customizations and fishing and cooking is all coming to the game as a part of it, but we'll also talk about, will New World Aeternum be delayed? We're going to speculate in that way. And then, as we always do, we're going to end with the message of hope, which in this case we're going to be talking about Asmongold. So there's some news in that arena, and I think it's an important reminder of all of us, what we're doing with our both mental and our physical health. And so we'll talk about that at the end of the video. So if you guys enjoy Throne of Liberty and mmorpg content and I earn your subscription, be sure to sound off in the comments below so I can welcome you to the channel, just like all these amazing people. Welcome in, everyone. Now let's get to the reason why you clicked on this video in the first place and talk about what is changing with this delayed release. So first things first, they talk about they're improving the camera controls to remove smoothing, an optional setting, and increase camera movement speed. They're also adjusting the skill acquisition timing to give players access to varied abilities and builds earlier in the leveling journey. And they've also improved the intuitiveness of the tab targeting system. They say they've heard feedback about the open beta from participants that they felt overwhelmed by the amount of systems that were quickly introduced in the early stages of the journey when leveling and progressing. So they're going to be adjusting progression's journey to better spread out the introduction of these systems, allowing for players to focus in on more of the early questing experience and learning the ins and outs of their character and combat before diving into too many additional systems. In regards to new features, they are announcing that they are bringing forward some key changes from the existing Korean version of Throne of Liberty. All these systems listed aren't a comprehensive look, they state, at every change that they're including, but these updates are a few we know engaged fans really are eagerly anticipating. There's also the additional of quality of life and other changes alongside these new systems, and even more is going to be added post-launch. They highlight skill specializations, stating a new skill specialization system will be implemented for the launch of new regions supported by Amazon Games, allowing you to further customize your combat experience. They're also adding in life skills. Fishing and cooking is going to be included, so that your experienced new life skill systems in Throne of Liberty cooking will include new recipes divided into attack, defense, life, and utility effects, while fishing will introduce new minigame allowing you to catch a variety of fishes in the waters of Celestrum. And finally, they list the Anemone Expeditions. Anemone Expeditions will be added, a new system allowing you to send your anemones on adventures to collect rewards for you when they're not accompanying you on your adventures in Celestrum. It also includes the Anemone House in your base of operations for Anemone Expeditions. Now, they say looking forward that there's even more changes and updates that will arrive to Throne of Liberty in the future, and closer at launch, they're going to have a team update that discusses the first 2 months of the roadmap and when you can expect certain content to release. Once again, the team wants to thank everybody for their participation and looks forward to the launch on October the 1st. And this really kind of parallels right into what is going on in the world of New World Aeternum, whether you're interested in it or not, from just a pure mathematical, like a discussion for discussion's sake mindset. They have the open beta, which is going to be running up to the 16th, 3 days for an open beta for people to go hands-on with New World Aeternum, with the launch of October the 15th. So 2 weeks after the launch of Throne of Liberty. I honestly think they're in a lot of trouble with that. I think no matter which way you slice it, 2 weeks for a new MMO to compete with an existing MMO. Yes, they're going to pick up, the console players, but wait, Throne of Liberty is also going to be on consoles. I think if anything else, they're going to use the open beta as a kind of a litmus test to see and engage interest in it. And if it's just not ready, I really hope that they delay it, which will be unfortunate because morale and belief in the devs is at an all-time low, but I do think it is their best opportunity. So I would venture to bet if the open beta does not go well, then we could probably see a delay. Otherwise, oh my goodness, you're going to have two massive MMOs. Now, I think they're probably going to be marketing Throne of Liberty as the MMO, and they're going to be marketing New World as an action RPG. So it's going to be interesting to see what, if anything, that picks up. But also, you have the concept of, well, the Throne of Liberty is free. So if you want that MMO fix, I think you're going to end up, again, stepping on your toes. This is something I've been wondering about ever since Amazon got into the MMO business, which a lot of people write off, but I don't see a lot of investment going on in MMOs. And yes, I will be covering Ashes of Creation. And I've also seen a lot of really good talk about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. So I am a backer of Ashes. I'm going to have to go and check out some Pantheon because they're talking about an early access launch as well. So I do think MMOs should launch in early access because I think they already have been doing that for the last several years. And if you look at any MMOs that have come out in the last 15 plus years, heck, even further back, you could even throw Final Fantasy 14 into this mix, where 1.0 was their early access and then eventually kicking it off with 2.0 forward. So all that being said and done, I'm kind of thinking that will happen. We'll have to wait and see in the long run whether that ends up being true, but that's where we are. Right now, I'd put the odds at 50-50 regarding that delay, but we'll have to see how I feel, especially when the open beta kicks off, which we will be playing. I'm very excited to go more hands-on with New World. I'm really excited about going hands-on with Throne of Liberty and you guys, as I've enjoyed my time with it. But in the long run, all said and done, I think it's now time we pivot to the message of hope. Guys, if you haven't seen, Asmongold recently announced that he was having some health issues.
I guess I can probably just like say, I kind of don't want to hide it a whole lot. Is like, so I've been having problems recently. Like I remember the day that I ended my stream early. So I went to the emergency room that day, and because I felt like uncomfortable, like a discomfort in my chest. And so they did an EKG on me, and like they did all this stuff, and they said that I was okay, but my blood pressure was very high. And so it was like, because I've actually been like, I've had very bad stress problems a lot. Like the point, and like my policy is that, what do I do when I'm scared? What do I do when I'm anxious? What do I do when anything I'm upset, I'm sad? It's very simple. I fucking ignore it and I keep going no matter what. But I was worried that it was that it's killing me, and I'm concerned that it might be. And so I've had to dial back a lot of the stress. And so I've had to deal with this, and like my blood pressure was in like the 170s. It was really, really bad because of how stressed out I've been. And so that's why I haven't been streaming as much for like a number of days. 170. So I just had a nosebleed. And so I thought to myself, oh my God, because that's an indicator of a stroke or like a heart attack. And so that's why I went downstairs to take my blood pressure in to make sure that I was okay. And I checked my nose and I found I was just picking at my nose the wrong way. And it seems like I'm fine. So that's the reason why. And I've been exercising every day now. And I've changed what I was eating too already. And I'm probably going to have to schedule an appointment with my doctor about this to make sure that I'm okay. Because it was really weird that I had like that feeling. That's heart attack level? Yeah, it is. But I just checked it. It's not anywhere near that. It's like 135, which is like, that's not great, but it's not also, like worrisome, right? 135 is still high. Panic attack. Yeah. Cardio will help for this. Yeah. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And so that's the reason actually why I've been doing shorter streams. I don't really want to talk about it a lot. Just give me a second. I don't like to talk about that kind of stuff because it just, I think it invites a lot of like parasocial stuff. But, you know, since I've had to end stream early a few days and like, it's still fucking with my head. Like oh God. Oh Jesus. Yeah. And so that's really it. You start eating healthier. It's catching up to you, bro. I think it's honestly stress more than anything else.
And this is to be expected. The guy just is now 34 years old. And he also lives a life, especially driven with soda and unhealthy eating and gameplay and all of those things. Lots of different things that stress him out. And I think it's all catching up to him. Now, I'm not shaming Asmongold. He's talking about making changes that he needs to make, and that's a really good thing. But I think it's important, especially as we talk about this. Obviously, he's got a wide, and a large amount of reach when it's all said and done, and that's awesome. Good for him. But when people are watching him, especially young, impressionable people, thinking as you get out of your 20s and then into your 30s and then beyond, that everything is just going to kind of feel the same. That isn't the case. You need to be making choices and decisions that are going to have a long lasting benefit to you, especially in your youth. And so he's talked about, and one of the things I respect a lot about what he said in the past is that he's talked about how people don't want his life. You think you want his life, but you don't want his life. And I think that's very, very true, and it can be very real. You only though see a portion of that, and it's in that portion that it can be a lot of, like, that's where a lot of the, the idea or the attractiveness. Oh man, it would be so great if I had, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people watching me live play video games, and how fun would that be, right? So there is this appeal and this attractiveness, but it's also important to note that there are real consequences to those various different things. And I'm glad that he's doing well. I'm glad he didn't have a heart attack, but yes, his blood pressure was absolutely terrifyingly high. And so we're like, Brian, where's the hope here? Like, this sounds so down. Here's the hope. You listening to this right now are alive, so you can make changes in your life. And I don't need you to be radical and like, I swear off all sugar. That's something that I do. I'm weird. I am, for whatever reason, built to put myself through crazy different challenges. If you want to accept that challenge, I'm 1 year sugar free challenge to you guys. I think it would be incredible. Even if you ended up just saying, you know what, I'm going to track how much sugar I'm getting on a weekly basis, right? And then essentially see, can I step that down? Now, thankfully, I gave up sodas when I was 13 for Lent, and that ended up being something I never really brought back. I would used to have a soda on my birthday, for example. I always, like, that was just kind of a nice little treat, but it wasn't something that I was big. And thankfully, I also don't have a sweet tooth. So this isn't something where I'm like, I know people out there who really love, things that are sweet, and you know what? That's great. I hope you enjoy the food that you eat. But what I'm trying to encourage you guys is that, especially as we get older and as we do these, as our bodies adjust to a new normal with every decade, make these changes. Start experimenting to see, because it might not just be sugar. Like for me, turns out I was also allergic to spinach. Now I love spinach. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like there was like a physical reaction like on my skin or anything. No, it just made me feel very, very sick. And I never really could connect the dots until I started. What I did was an AIP diet, which is an elimination diet, to kind of figure out what foods are having what effect on me. It's not meant to, you're not meant to live the AIP life. You're meant to say, let's get down to the absolute bare basics, and then let's, see how we feel. So after a week of just like, yeah, I'm only going to eat chicken with it's awful. It sucks, guys. But I'm only going to eat chicken with salt. And then it's like, okay, how do I feel? Okay, I feel good. All right, now I'm going to introduce this new food. And then you kind of step your way through figuring out what the heck's going on with your body and the food that you're eating. And honestly, I think, if that ends up being something you do, that's great. If you do something else, that's great. But I just want to kind of, be excited for Asmongold, for him making those changes, and to hopefully encourage you guys to also make similar changes. It's not easy, but it's absolutely worth it, and you're worth it too. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, take care.